So today I'm going to talk about elitist attitudes that gamers have. I understand that the more you play a game, the better you get at it, but there comes a point where your skill and success go to your head, and it gets to a point where it annoys the people you play with. Elitist gamers. These are people who generally regard themselves as the best of the best. No one can beat them no matter what, and they brag about it constantly. Some are so arrogant that they don't even play, but just hang out at places to talk trash to everyone else. And when invited to play, they refuse because they say it won't be a challenge or something of that nature. The gamers I have the most experience with is in the card game circuit. Mostly Yu-Gi-Oh players. I do play Magic, although rarely because it's not as popular as Yu-Gi-Oh in my area, and no one really wants to play against my deck because I run old school slivers, which are an extremely broken archetype. I'm also trying to get into Cardfight Vanguard, but anyway. The reason why I'm bringing up card games is because people who play them are a type of gamer. If you play card games at a card shop, you know the type of person that I'm talking about, because every store has at least one of this person. They go to the store, the book of trades they have is full of garbage, and they value everything at a high price, and they always seem to leave their good book at home. And when they actually do bring the good book on those rare moments, they value every card at a ridiculous rate. And trading with them never works out in your favor, as they want $200 worth of cards from you for the $10 card you want from them. And they never play against anyone, as they almost never bring their deck and they almost never interact with anyone. And when they do interact with anyone, they're rude. They'll put down a person's skill or deck before they even see it. They brag about how they placed in the top 8 at a world tournament, and if they beat you, they brush it off like you don't even exist. But if you win, they come up with excuses like they had a bad hand or that you top deck and got lucky. Just overall bad sportsmanship. And these people are interacting with you face to face, which I find odd that people would act this way to people in person. Usually they save that attitude for online interactions where they can't be seen. There's video gamers that are like this too. If they're beaten, they say that they weren't trying or that you got lucky, some excuse to try and downplay that they lost. The elitist gamers are those that have skill but fail to realize that there's always someone better than them and that their skill is partly based on luck. Yeah, you may be good, but you also need to rely on your opponent to be in the perfect spot so you can defeat them. For example, in World of Warcraft, the Burning Crusade expansion, my main was a warlock that I would PvP with. I was top in damage and kills, but that was due to luck really, as Seed of Corruption caused a lot of area effect damage. So all I would have to do is wait for other players to group up and dot them all with that spell. It's luck being on my side that the other players would be standing so close together. However, I sucked at PvE and I wanted to improve, but it's hard to improve when people don't want to help you. My friend Will said that I sucked as a warlock, so I asked him how I could improve. He said he didn't know because he didn't play that class. The guild I was in favorited players. My friend Gus was in it as well, and they helped him improve as they favorited him. These guild members were elitists. They would never take me on dungeon runs to get better gear, yet they continued to belittle me for having poor gear, and refused to help me improve because I wasn't a favorite. Then when Wrath of the Lich King came out and screwed up warlocks for PvP, I made a Death Knight that has been my main ever since, as I pretty much was a natural at it. During the Cataclysm expansion at my peak, I checked this website, I forget which one. It calculates your character stats and compares them with others on your server. I was in the top 10 Death Knights of my server when it came to PvE, until I stopped playing. Yeah, I was good, but I wouldn't let it go to my head. I would help others become better Death Knights, check their gear, tell them what to do, what to improve on, and things like that. I didn't mind helping other players, but there were people who would put down others because they weren't as good as them. If I caught that, I would defend the person being insulted, and I would help them. After Cataclysm went back to a more old school method of getting gear, the community became divided between the casual and the hardcore base. The casual players who didn't have time to invest in raiding complained that they weren't getting any good gear, while the hardcore would tell them that they didn't deserve gear if they didn't raid. The casuals said that they paid the same 15 as the hardcores and should be entitled to getting gear. Both sides had a point. The casuals said that they should be entitled to gear as they paid the same subscription fee as hardcores, and if they aren't raiding, then they should have to pay a lesser fee. It's not that they did not want to raid, they just weren't getting the opportunity. Either their schedule conflicted with their guild's raid schedule, or their guild just wouldn't take them because they weren't favorited. The hardcore's argument was that gear is earned, which is a viable argument, but they would ignore the concerns of the casual players because of the hardcore's elitist attitude. You can kind of see where this is leading to. You know how there's that one kid on the playground who thinks they can make the rules of the game because they're the ones who brought the ball? This is pretty much the same attitude as elitist gamers. They act like they own the games that they're playing, and because they actually can't take it home when people disagree with them, they usually leave after they have a hissy fit. And sometimes the people who brag a lot are usually easily humbled because the second they make a mistake, and if you call them out on it, they'll either drop out or they'll shut up for the rest of the game and then find another place to game. For example, my friend Brian is probably the best person when it comes to fighting games. One night we were playing Smash Bros. Melee. He had made a new name tag for himself called TFN. And I asked him what it stood for, and he said it stood for too fucking nice. Right after he says that, he screws up and dies by falling off the stage. I say that he was right, and that was too fucking nice. After that round, he switched back to his original name tag. And there's PC gamers who act like PC is the best platform, where their only argument is that the reason for PC gaming being better is because the graphics are better. So, PC hardware is always better than console hardware because PC hardware can be upgraded and replaced, while consoles can't do that, and not everyone can afford a ton of money for the most powerful hardware, or they don't want to set up a gaming PC to connect to their TV so they can play in the living room. The silly thing is, I know PC gamers that look down upon game consoles, yet they still buy all the consoles, and have bought, kept, and play the same games on all platforms. So not only did this person spend thousands of dollars on the most powerful PC hardware, they spent hundreds of dollars buying all the game systems and a copy of the same game for each platform they own. Either that person lacks common sense, or what they really want to do is just flaunt their disposable income. But you should take solace that you're not stupid enough to blow all that money when you didn't need to. You're going to run into elitists wherever you go. It doesn't matter if it's in a game, school, work, or just running into someone on the street. And next time I'm going to talk about why I think GameStop hatred is irrational.